Welcome back to the Island Faithful. I hope everybody is doing well. Today we have one simple question, and that is, how good can the San Francisco 49er defense be in 2026? Can this be a top 5 defense? A top 10 unit? Can it actually help carry this team back to a championship? Because I feel like a lot of folks are really sleeping on this unit. And so we're going to take a deep dive into this thing today. Let's get it. Welcome to the Camman Island Podcast, where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers. I'm your host, David Camman. Now, when people talk about this defense, I think it's important to take a look at the past to understand where you're headed for the future. And I think when people look and talk about the defense from last year, folks want to act like it completely fell off the rails, right? I don't really see it that way, especially when you consider everything this defense had to overcome last year. We could spend several minutes just talking about the key players, the injuries, when these players went down at the worst possible times they could go out. So when you look at the 2025 defense, let's just take a look at it on paper, okay? You've got points allowed, 371 total. That's 21.8 points per game. Now that's 13th in the league. So that's the better half of the league right there. Now, total yards allowed was 5,784. That is 340 per game. That is 20th in the league. I do feel the Niners struggled a lot getting teams off the field, especially on third down. And there's about to be a statistic or two that we're about to go over that highlights it all. Yards allowed per play was 5.4. That was 21st in the league. Again, that bottom half. Total plays faced, 19th. Turnover differential, -6, 24th in the league. This team just could not generate any type of turnovers. This is where it just gets absolutely disgusting. Total sacks, 20. Dead last, 32nd in the league. Sacks per game, 1.18 sacks per game. That's 32nd in the league. Also dead last. Pass rush win rate, 29%, 29th in the league. Run stop win rate, 31%. That was 11th in the league. So you can see where there are a few areas here, especially the points allowed per game. You can tell this was a bend but don't break defense, and also a defense that came through in very opportune times to not allow some of these games to fall off the rails. I would say it this way, Faithful. This defense, this team in general, I feel like overachieved as compared to what they were really working with. And let's be honest, the statistic that absolutely jumps off the page is pass rush. Dead last in sacks, 29th in win rate, and they still finished 13th in total defense. That tells me something. This defense doesn't need to become elite overnight in 2026. It simply needs to get back to being average at rushing the passer. And if they can do that, everything else will begin to improve. I want you to think about these numbers and these statistics from 2025. If you move the 49ers up from dead last to 18th, if you take them from 29th in win rate, 29% win rate to 39% win rate, how significant of a difference would that have made? Okay. I feel like this team absolutely punched above its weight class last year. And I want to give Robert Saleh a lot of credit. He deserves a lot. I thought he did a tremendous job with the hand that he was dealt. Now we have Raheem Morris taking over. There are some very distinct features that both of these coaches have in common. They like to play fast football, physical football, winning with the defensive front, limiting explosive plays. But where I feel Raheem Morris is a bit different is he mixes his coverages up more. He plays more man coverage. His defensive looks are disguised, and he manufactures pressure in different ways than Robert Saleh did. So instead of simply saying our front four has to win, he's more willing to create pressure, if that makes sense, in some of his schemes and formations. And I like that. And I think this defense has more versatility than people realize, especially in the secondary, especially with a guy like Malik Mustafa. I think we can do some creative things with him. And so I think Morris is going to have some fun with this group and really unlock some wrinkles that we haven't necessarily seen under a hard-nosed, wide nine every play type of scheme. Now, a couple of things when you think about heading into 2026. There's two distinct factors that are going to make the biggest difference when it comes to how the Niners are going to perform in 2026. Nicholas Bosa, Fred Warner. I've got to be honest with you guys. Fred Warner in gym shorts standing on the field would have better pass rush win rate than we did last year. Just a team having to account for Nick Bosa will help other players. Just that guy being back. I'm not saying he's getting 6 sacks in Australia week 1. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just saying, you know what the man can do. He's going to be fully healthy coming into the season. As long as we can get through OTAs, he's going to come into the season completely healthy. And he's one of the best in the world at his position. Just his presence on the field alone will make this pass rush better. Full stop. Fred Warner, best linebacker in football. This man was about to do something crazy, and I really feel like if we could have pulled out a win against Seattle last year, this man would have came back last year and played in the NFC Championship game. He is just an absolute freak of nature. One of the greatest 49ers to ever put on the jersey. He will be an absolute X factor. These are two all-pro talents. Those two guys will make this defense instantly better in both coverage and rushing the passer day one. So we're getting better right there, and that's a guarantee. I don't even care if they're a little rusty. Those players at 70%, maybe even 60%, and that's no disrespect. Guys are trying to do everything that they can in their power to help the team. I get that, but a 60% Nick Bosa and a 60% Fred Warner is better than what we were working with last year, and we still were 13th in points allowed. Just something to think about, okay? So a couple of things that I think that we're not really thinking about right now or is not being considered. Dre Greenlaw. This is a huge addition. I think people are forgetting just how important Dre Greenlaw is. I understand he's a few years older. He's one of the fastest linebackers in football. He changes the attitude of this defense. When Fred and Dre are together, the middle of the football field, it just closes quicker. It closes faster. And I would ask anyone watching the show today, be it you're a 49er fan or a fan of another franchise, I'll just ask the question. What linebacker duo are you taking over Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw healthy? I'm not saying there's not one out there. I just want to ask the question. Okay? It is absolutely one of the best linebacker duos in football. And I think a guy like a Nick Martin is going to reap the benefits of being in a linebacker room with those two guys to learn from. I am super high on Nick Martin this year and super excited for what he's able to do when he gets some opportunities. Osa Odighizuwa changes the equation very much, and this is a big deal. I absolutely love this addition because we've needed some interior pass rush for a while. Osa gives you consistent pressure, interior push. He's going to force quarterbacks off their spot. And that is going to help Nick Bosa so very much. Last year, offenses, when Nick was in there, could slide protection over to Nick Bosa every single play without any threat of anything else going on. And so you're just not going to be able to do that this season. They're going to have to worry about pressure coming straight up in their grill. And when you have that pressure, that makes a huge difference. I need everybody to understand there are guys that were taking great strides last year that are coming back. Mykel Williams, before the injury, this kid was starting to ascend, man. When he went down, it was a night and day difference in our run defense. I understand that they took him 11th overall in the draft. I understand that he still needs to develop some pass rush diversity. But for a first-year guy, I could tell significantly game after game that he was getting better. It's unfortunate that he's going to miss the offseason program. I'm really hoping that he can get back in there and pick up right where he left off. Alfred Collins, I love this kid's upside. Will he take a second-year jump? I think just from the players that's going to be present, he's going to be better than last year. Just Nick Bosa being there, hopefully fully, Fred, Dre, just the veteran presence on the team, and Osa demanding so much attention, I think will help him a lot. Romello Height, I've said it before. Romello Height's first step is absolutely off the charts. It's insane. I'm excited to see what he can do, like in a form of a NASCAR package. You're going to have to account for Osa. When Mykel Williams comes back, it's not like he's a small guy. This is a mammoth of a man. Just those names, just those scenarios alone make this defense much better. A guy like Upton Stout, man, I really liked Upton Stout. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not really sure how Raheem Morris is going to use this kid. He is a bit under. I will say this. Kid had a few flags thrown on him last year that I thought were absolutely ridiculous. There was a few times he's running tight ends routes. He's running receivers routes for them. And if that guy takes another step, man, watch out. The biggest improvement, why I think this defense gets better. Last year, this defense struggled to pressure quarterbacks, finish sacks, and create turnovers. Now think about who's back. Nick, Fred, Dre, picked up Osa, got Alfred Collins, Mykel Williams is coming back. Guys, my prediction, write this down, and this is, man, such a risky take here. The Niners will have the following: more pressures, more sacks, better win rate, more forced fumbles, more interceptions, better third down percentage. I know this is just crazy, right? And this is a team that won 12 games in the regular season last year. This is a team that went up to Philadelphia. And folks want to sit up here and say Philadelphia wasn't that good. Man, they were better than us roster-wise, especially in the trenches. Absolutely in the trenches. We were playing with linebackers, faithful, called off the street. Okay? Kyle coached his behind off. I feel like Kyle really blossomed and came into his own, man. He showed me some things last year. And if that Kyle shows up, Raheem Morris can put a few wrinkles with this defense and it can stay remotely healthy. This could be something special. This could absolutely be something special. Pressure fixes everything. Better pass rush means more bad throws, more interceptions, more forced fumbles, which means more opportunities for Brock Purdy in that offense. Pressure makes everybody better. The secondary, the corners are not going to have to hold up in coverage as long as they did last year. 32nd in sacks, 29% pass rush win rate. I have no idea how the 49ers were 13th in points allowed. No idea, okay? Excellent coaching, opportune plays. You think about Alfred Collins punching that ball out of Kyron Williams' hands when he was about to put the game away with a touchdown. I'm just saying, how good can this defense be? My answer, top 10, absolutely. That's my prediction. Absolutely a top 10 unit. Because they don't have to become the 2019 defense. They don't have to lead the NFL. They simply need to improve from 32nd in sacks, from this ridiculously bad pass rush win rate. They just need to improve in those areas. If they improve in those areas, it's going to pull everything else up. This defense can be good to very good. And if the offense plays the way I think it can, that combination is good enough to compete for a Super Bowl. Period. Final thoughts. Here's why I'm excited. Last year's defense, we talked about it before, 13th in scoring, despite finishing last in all these pressures and all these sack categories, playing without Nick Bosa for most of the year, Fred Warner most of the year. We didn't have a guy like Greenlaw. We didn't have a guy like Osa Odighizuwa. You bring in a creative defensive coordinator, and people don't think this defense can improve. I respectfully disagree. Faithful, that's going to be the show for today. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. How good do you think this defense can be? Top 15, top 10, top 5. Do you think I'm being a bit over-optimistic? Am I drinking too much of that red and gold Kool-Aid? As always, Faithful, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with another Faithful because it really does help out. Until next time, take care, be blessed, and go Niners.